Uh, yeah, I just keep it steady on the magic. Do my thing, I'm healing, it's fantastic. If I fall, rise automatic. You ain't know now, you know. On the one, raise myself like a tree from the roots. West side girl, cause she lit in the coast. East side girl, when she speaks to the roots. Stay 100, cause she on with the truth. Been there on struggle, know that it pass. Only going up, yeah, the pain don't last. Ooh, take off. Ooh, take off. Ooh, take off. This is take off, take off, take off. Shorty like Brandy, fight like Monica. What you know about her? Baby girl rising, way to the top. Shaking the world, don't expect her to stop. Purpose so great, she get what she got. Follow her step, cause she following God. What you need more, got a heart full of gold. Even at times when it's raining and cold. Ooh, she bout take off. Ooh, she bout.
What up, what up, what up, y'all? It's your girl Hannah, aka Ruta. You are watching Black Women Wednesday on the Uprooted Network, and I have my beautiful friend Mahdi in the building with me today, y'all. Mahdi, my girl, how you doing?
I'm great. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Of
It's been a
course,
minute.
it's been a minute. So we were just talking offline before. It's literally been a year and some change, like 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like a year and 2 weeks since you were last on. So those of you who are new to the network, Mahdi is not. So I want y'all to know her. My homie, like I don't even know. Like we've been through a journey together just in the year. Like just in the year that we've gotten to know each other, it's been wild. What I wanted to bring you back on today for is to talk about our journeys, right? Our personal development journeys, how we got here. So if you've seen Mahdi on here before, we were talking about self-care, and just what we're doing, and it's part of this story, right? It's part of the journey. And then also, we had another episode, Women in the Movement, just overall talking about the advocacy work that we've been doing for Tigray. And a whole year later, we're still busting out projects, trying to figure out ways. So like before we even dive into it, how are you? Like, cause it's been a minute. Like, let the people know.
Oh wow, yeah. No, it's been some time. Like you said, it's been like a year since I've been on here, and I've gone through so much. Like I feel like as a community, we've gone through so much. It's been really heavy, a lot of ups, a lot of downs. Um, even for myself, like personally, I just feel like Tigray has really consumed my entire self. Um, and I'm okay. I'm doing a lot better. I can honestly say that I feel like I'm in a lot like healthier space mentally, physically,
Mhm.
spiritually than I was, say, I mean, I think this time last year was really difficult, obviously, but I think I went through it personally, like, after probably like over the summer was the most difficult for me,
Mm.
just because I felt like not being, I didn't see like our people within our community for some time, and then just felt really lonely. And I felt like it really, um, what can I say? Like, I felt like I lost myself. I can
Mm.
honestly say that. I feel like I lost myself. I felt like I was beating myself up because I felt like I wasn't doing enough for Tigray. I felt like I wasn't doing enough for myself. I wasn't doing enough, to support my family and my friends. And I
Yeah.
just felt like I was letting everybody down, and like especially myself, because like there's that whole thing, you and I, we would talk.
Yeah.
If you're not okay, how do you expect to help other people and make everybody else okay? And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm not doing well at all.
It's hard, right? It's hard. Like so the audience isn't privy, right? But like we talk regularly. So like we're always like I've been in the journey, I've been seeing all the ups and downs, and I think summer knocked us both on our ass. Like, yeah, like that was not a fun time. It looked fun, from the outside, like shit's shiny, you look all nice, all those things. But it was
Yeah.
just internally, yeah, like there was a lot of just frustration of trying to figure things out. But what you said that really stuck out to me, right, is like this idea of feeling like you were lost to yourself. Like, like your life just looks like unrecognizable. You're like, what
Mm.
the hell? Is this supposed to be my life? Because I don't remember all this. Like, I don't remember signing up for all this shit. I don't remember like, all these other new phone numbers in my phone, these new notifications. I'm like, what? Everything is just so new and like exhausting. Like everything felt like work, like every day.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it was super exhausting. And then I remember we had a really dope, beautiful conversation about, like, you just were like, I want to do my art. And I was like, yeah, do that. Like, like it was very much like we both were struggling and like trying to figure out like what were the things that we liked to do, that used to fill us, right? Like that we really enjoyed before our lives like completely just transformed. Um and it's been a journey since. Like it's been a beautiful journey since. Like I feel like I've gotten to see you kind of like come back to yourself, like every time I call you, it's a better energy. It's like, oh yeah, look, I'm doing this now. I'm working on this now. There's like a new improvement. I'm just like, okay, sis, shit, do that then.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. Like, I feel like, I think we have to go through those ups and those downs to find ourselves. And, like, I think I'm very blessed and grateful for, honestly, for the support that I have around me. Like, I have you and I have several other people around me, my sisters, my cousins, my family, like, that, it, it's okay, to confide in people and be vulnerable. And I think that's something that I've been learning a lot is being vulnerable and having boundaries. Those are my two things that I've learned in this past like year, even more so. Uh, so yeah, I think that definitely. I remember calling you and I remember telling you that like on the phone and saying like I need to do some art. I need to do something that gives me peace. So drawing, and I started to do play with clay, and picked up painting. And I'm happy to say that after the 1 year mark for Tigray genocide and having that protest and being part of such an amazing group of people with 24 Hours for Tigray and bringing so many artists together and to have an exhibition to share, um, everything that we've gone through within the diaspora and telling the truth of our people back home to then collaborate with another artist within our community, Gabrielle,
Mhm.
to create something so beautiful like Tigray Art Collective. And I'm so excited to see, to just share that with everybody because I want everybody to own it as for themselves too. It's not just for artists, it's for
Yeah.
everybody. Yeah.
No, I'm just smiling because I got the front row seat to the journey, So like I'm just like, yes, because what I really hope people were taking away from what you just said is that like, right, if we're even just looking at the arc of this story, if we're just looking at how like Tigray Art Collective came together, that was very much your personal journey. Like the goal was not, let me start an organization, let me build a community, let me, do those things. Like what you started to do was like, what makes me feel good? Like let's start there. And that's what I really try to always put on people. And like you said it earlier, right? Like I'm always harping that message, like you can't help anybody if you are not good. Like that just, it doesn't work that way. And like the beauty of you doing your own work is that you were able to create something out of that. Like, but that wasn't the purpose, right? It was kind of like the additional blessing, like it's
Hmm.
how I like to see it. It's like, oh, okay. Shit. Like,
Yeah.
what else happens when you rest? Like, what
You'll be
else?
amazed. You'll
Yes.
be amazed. When you finally take care of yourself and resting and it's okay. Like I felt guilty. I felt really guilty stepping away from advocacy or taking a break from social media and posting. There's like that guilt, like, wow, like you're not doing enough. But it's like, wait a second, like that's not the case. Take a step back, like take a break,
Mhm.
treat yourself, do something that you like. And that's something that I've incorporated. I
Yes.
do at least one thing that I want to do that will make me feel better throughout the day. It doesn't matter if I'm having a terrible day. I always try to do at least one thing for myself
Mhm.
because if anything, this genocide has
Yeah.
showed us that anything can happen. You don't know, like you just don't know. And also COVID doesn't help any better. You just feel like it's all stressful. So just really taking advantage of every single moment that you have and making the most of it, which you can.
Yeah, every freaking day. Like we're just like, oh, like what's coming now, right? And it's like, I no, it's so beautiful. Like I love that. Like right, I love our conversations because I'll be like, kick your feet up, girl. Like do like what you do today? Did you eat? Like those are the type of questions that I like to ask people. I don't really care what else did you get accomplished. To me, I'm like, oh, you ate today? Good job. Like you drank your water, beautiful. You took a walk? Damn, my nigga, you went in. Like, like that's really like my metric for like how people are doing, right? It's like, are you taking care of you? Like, do you have that capacity? Because if you wake up and you are all day long focusing on other people and doing for them, then you're the one, at the end of the day that is left with nothing, you know?
Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
know, so
No,
whew,
we're
yeah,
making it. We're making it. Self care,
hey,
traveling. That's what I'm doing right now. Just taking
girl,
a break.
listen, Mahdi is my
Go.
travel goals buddy because I just popped up on the screen. I said, "Bitch, are you in a trailer?" Like,
Yes, I am in a trailer right, and it's really cute. I like it.
no,
This
it's
is.
beautiful. It's beautiful.
I'm
I
living.
was
I'm
laughing.
living my dream. Yo,
You
I'm living
really
my
are.
dream.
No, you really are. Like someone messaged me the other day, Lily from Tagaru Link Up, and she was like, "Yeah, girl, you living your dream." I said, "I am." Like like I had to sit there and let that sink in. I was like, "Oh, I am living my dream." Like
Yeah.
this is it. This is happening day to day. I'm doing the shit that I said I wanted to do, right? Like I'm putting in the work that I want to put in. I'm having the experiences I want. I talk to the people that make me feel good, right? Like when you just start to like name those things and then remembering where we were, like when we were just every day frazzled, stressed, fucking getting sick and all of those things. I want you guys to go back and watch the other episode cuz we talked about this a year ago of like how are we taking care of ourselves and like now, I don't know if you peep, but you glowing sis. Like you over
Oh,
there. Yes, like you are glowing. Like this lighting is everything right now. Like
lighting is just hitting
yes,
me so
it's
nice.
giving you life because I'm over here like sis is glowing, right? And this is like a year later of putting in the work, like sitting
Yeah.
through the discomfort, right? Having the hard conversations. Cause right, like some of the conversations we have, like you're going through it and you're just like, it just is stress. Like, I'm like, yo, first and foremost, breathe, right? And then two, you're being overproductive. Like you're judging yourself on the wrong scale, right? And so we've had some beautiful conversations and I think other people can learn from it too, where first and foremost, if they don't know, right? Because I just assume you watched all these episodes. Madi and me are both immigrants, right? We came from Tigray. Obviously, why we're so like, hello, free Tigray all day, right? But even before that, right? Like we had our own journeys of self-discovery, of like getting our lives together, and we're doing a pretty, decent job. Like good job. Like we're like, okay, we on our way. We're not exactly where we want to be, but we can see it. Like, right, we're kind of making those moves. And so I wonder for you before the war, right? Because there's a lot
Mm.
of stuff that you learn now of like, earlier you talked about vulnerability and boundaries, right? What was that journey before? Like when you were growing up and yeah, like
Whew.
that struggle because you didn't just get to this glowing place overnight, right? Like there's things that you had to learn on the journey to get here.
Oh my goodness. Woo, girl.
Yeah.
Open up with yes. Well, this is that's a great question because the journey was not easy. Not easy. I'm the eldest of three.
Mhm.
I have sisters, and being the eldest child within an immigrant family living in America, it's not easy. And on top of that, just trying to find yourself. I live in a state that's not very diverse. I don't live it like growing up. I was the definition of diversity.
Mhm.
Um, it's it was not easy, but I think that it didn't hit me until after college, to be honest. Like, I was just chill. I've always been really chill. I always was content being by myself. I spent a lot of time alone in my room, would lock myself in my bedroom. I would
Mhm.
write. I like to write. I like to draw. I have journals for days. I've been writing since I was in Addis back in
Mhm.
2003. So I have
Mhm.
stacks of journals about my feelings because I don't know. I've also, I can be honest and say that like I had a lot of trust issues with, you know,
Mhm.
friends and
Yeah.
not that I had like any deepest darkest secrets or anything like this, but like just being vulnerable and opening up to people wasn't easy for me. So my journals and drawing was my outlet,
Mhm.
and being able to say that I'm really happy because I feel like it's taken me a long time to open up to people, but I was able to trust myself and
Ooh.
be comfortable with myself.
Mhm.
I think that also confidence. I feel like I
Ooh.
gave myself confidence. You
Okay.
know, I felt confident in myself. And like, I can tell you, like, my friends that I went to college with, a lot of people, that was something that a lot of people told me. They're like, you're
Mhm.
so confident, you're intimidating. I'm comfortable. I'm
Mm.
really comfortable. But then it got to the point where when it came to dating and stuff like this, I kind of found myself like, oh shit, like,
Yes.
so like,
They can't see your face, so I just like if they're not
oh, they can't,
watching,
oh, okay.
if they're watching on YouTube, they'll see your face, right? But if they're not watching on YouTube, I just have to do the reaction for them because the face was just like the face was like, ooh, every time we get to dating in love, that's everybody's favorite question to ask. Like, when they come talk to me about advice, that's what they want. Why do you think I have life coaching services now? Because I'm like, oh,
Thank
okay,
you.
this gonna take a minute. We're gonna have to unpack because these conversations are
Yeah.
not easy, right? Like me and Mahdi, we talk on the phone for hours, right? Like we will be like, okay, what are we doing today? We gonna unpack this, right? Like so it takes some time to like pull through all those feelings and emotions. And dating and love is like the one area of life that gives everybody like heartburn. Like, like
It's
it is a lot.
because the thing is, it's like I don't know. I don't want to generalize it for all Habeshas or Africans or people on this planet, but our parents didn't tell us, what it's like to be in a relationship. Because my entire life growing
Mhm.
up was always like, you don't need a boyfriend, don't date, school, school, school. Literally dedicated my entire life to school until I was 28 years old. Mind you, that was like, or 27 years old. That was like
You got
2 years
you
ago.
got 3 degrees, right? And you got to stun on them one time. Like,
Yo,
I just had to throw it in. As your friend, I gotta let niggas know, right?
thank
Like,
you. Yes,
you
yes.
got
I'm very proud.
3, count them, count them.
3, yes, yes. I mean, I'm very proud. It was a lot of work, and I feel like that was just my way of investing in myself, which I'm very grateful for. I had the opportunity, it's a privilege,
Yeah,
and I'm grateful. And I just feel like I did it. I did the things that my parents told me to do, and I'm very
yes,
proud of that because I'm just like, okay, yeah. Like at school, I dreaded it for like a hot second. Then I saw like the potential and the opportunities that allowed me to have, and I'm grateful to say that like I have a steady job, yada yada yada. So. And I'm able to do things that I like to do, like we talked about. Like I like to
yeah,
travel. I'm able to do that, and I'm very grateful. I will say that like when it comes to things that my parents didn't really inform me about was dating. I mean, I went on dates in college. Yeah, I went on dates. For me, it was more like free meals. Like, yo, I'm eating. Like, I'm happy. Like,
not the
let's have good
free
conversation. Yo, like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I'm eating. We're having great
meals.
conversation. The great company. You
Mhm.
realize some people are very different from you, and there are some people fall in love too easily, too fast. At times, like I question myself: is this something that I'm doing too? And
Mhm,
just trying to
mhm.
feel it out. Like if anything, I'm learning. I'm learning that there's different people, and not everybody's for me, and
That
that's
part.
okay. That's
Listen,
okay.
some people are not for us. Okay, I just want people to get real comfortable with acknowledging that because I had a hard time with that statement for years, and I got to a point where I was like, okay, all right, this shit gotta go. Like
Mm,
that's why I now say I don't have to like you, right? I don't have to like you. It's not part of the equation for me. I don't have to like you to give you respect, right? To respect your humanity, to show you love. Doesn't mean I'm in love with you, right? But I just think everybody's deserving of love and kindness, right? So it's like
Mm,
none of that equals me actually liking you or enjoying your company. None of that shit. Like, and I had to separate the two. So that's a good point. I wanna unpack here because again, right? What it sounds like is everything else makes sense for you. Like in terms of your personal development, one, I just want to count years, right? Because you were doing some of the things that we tell people to do, right? Which is journal, write, get your feelings out. But also now you have that self awareness that like a lot of that was with trust, right? And trying to where do I feel safe to share these feelings and express those things and work on that. And so it doesn't shock me, right, that you would have difficulty in relationships, right? Because you already had difficulty trusting people. And like, what does a relationship require? Like trust.
mm,
Right? And that requires you to be vulnerable and all of those things. And so I like what you pointed out. We didn't have the, like, I wouldn't say a bad example. I wouldn't say the greatest example. I don't want to say that. The example we had is is not really aligned with the culture we grew up in, you know?
mm.
And
Oh yeah.
so just trying to like figure out that balance of like, well, we watch this romantic shit on TV all day or like, media and pop culture. So we have an idea of like, yeah, you have fun together, you love on each other, all that good stuff. Like you don't really think about, oh, wait, I have to tell them how I feel. I have to like what is this part? Oh, the day-to-day boring shit. Okay, like, oh, we gotta communicate on what's your schedule looking like? What do you gotta get done? Oh, I gotta get shit done too. So like there's all of those little things that we don't really pick up on. So I think it's funny and I want to spend a little time here if you're comfortable, like from your personal development journey, right? Growing up, it didn't the school, the knowing, the like following the steps to be stable, right? To understand what being an adult in terms of taking care of your responsibilities and taking care of yourself. You didn't struggle with that, which is beautiful. Or maybe you did. At least
I mean, well, I mean, like the thing is, it's like for me, I could say that like going to school and like focusing on school and like really just investing a lot of that time, I
Mhm.
feel like I also missed out on other parts of like, for
Yeah.
example, like when I was in college, my
Mhm.
freshman year, I never drank, I never did anything. I wouldn't even say that I'm not even, I'm an average student. I'm
Mhm.
proud of that. I am an average student. I'm a B student. There was a point in my life that I was not great in school. It's
Mhm.
because I didn't understand the concept of education until
Mhm.
I did. And then, but once I did and really embedded in myself where it could take me, I took a step back from my social life. And I think taking
Mhm.
that step back from my social life, my friends didn't understand me, and they didn't understand like why were you going to the library at 12 o'clock, the library opens at 12,
Yeah.
like why would you spend all day? I didn't go out, I wasn't drinking as much, with my friends and like socializing,
Mhm.
and it put a toll on some relationships. But for me, it was kind of like you don't understand what it took me to get here to this point, and I don't feel like I need to. Oh, I don't know anybody an explanation as to why I do the things that I do,
That part.
so I didn't feel that need. But once I did, I was like, okay, fine. Like I'm happy, and I'm glad that I did it. And I was able to have more of a social life once I understood that balance, because I
Mhm.
was able to balance school and my social life, and then being able to incorporate dating and seeing the struggle in that, and understanding people, understanding myself in a relationship, because that's a whole other person too. Sometimes, like just trying to figure out what am I like in a relationship. Um,
Yeah,
that,
who am I as a partner? Yeah, like, right, like, who am I as a partner? And I think there's something to unpack there, right? Because there's a couple lessons that I hope people are like taking, right? And like picking up. One, your journey didn't follow a tradition like your socialization, I should say, right? Didn't follow what would have been a traditional one, like the rest of us, right? Um, and so that's always a learning curve, like, like, oh, this how you act? Like, it takes a little bit of while to like be like, okay, this is what people mean when they say that. Like, because you're reading in a book, it's usually, pretty straightforward. There's some ideology, you have a conversation back and forth. Like it makes sense most of the time, right? There's a system, you get it makes sense. Relationships, there's no system that makes sense for it. I promise you, I've been trying to figure it out for years. There is no there's no like the secret formula to like, being really good at this, right? It's what you were talking about though, like the more you discover yourself, right? And you start asking those questions, the easier it becomes. Like you get better at least communicating what it is that you're needing or wanting or not, but like feeling is there, whatever the case is, and then that's where the work begins, right? In a
Mm,
relationship. But I always tell people too, relationships are the one place you can't hide, you know?
you cannot hide.
You cannot hide. Like you can
Yeah.
have all your other identities, like you go to work, you have an identity there, like how you present with your friends, you can present differently. And by the way, all of these versions of you are valid, right?
Mm.
Like you
Oh yes.
everyone doesn't get to have access to you in your wholeness unless you want them to. You know what I'm saying? But you kind of, you've created a system for yourself that you're comfortable with, right? And then when you come home to somebody, right, or you're in a relationship with them, what you gonna do? Like what version of you do you want to be? Like, because it's, you can try to choose one and you keep that up for as long as you can, but normally when people go home they relax. So you're not gonna
It's
be
funny that you say that. Version, what version of you do you want to be?
mm-hmm.
And I think that's something that I've always struggled with, was because like I always thought like I'm a person, I'm this way with my friends, I'm this way with my family, I'm this way with like so and so. And I realized that the one thing, that the version of myself that I want to be and I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to be and getting to is authentically me.
That's
Period.
it. We love
Period.
that.
That's all I want to be. Like, because it's so hard to keep up with all those different versions, and just being myself
Mm-hmm.
and not caring whether people like that. It's just me, and I want to be unapologetically me. Uh, Tigray tea is that shirt. I think about that shirt.
Yes, I have
Stuck
a
under.
sweater. It's on my bed right now because I'm about to pack it.
Yes,
But
yes.
it really is that, like, and I think where people struggle is like, well, what what is that? I
Mm,
like when you've been hiding from yourself for so long, right? And you've been compartmentalizing, you're like, well, who am I? Like, what does authentic to me look like? I
and that
even
may
know.
change.
Mhm,
That may change. That
yeah.
that that version of you always is changing.
It's
Someone
growing
cut you
and
off,
it's evolving, and as you learn and implement new things, you
but like,
change too, right? Like what I liked when I was 5 is not what the fuck I like now. And if it is, like, I don't know, like I'm questioning myself. You know what I mean? Like I don't think that's how I want my evolution to work, right?
yes.
There's just certain parts of life that you got to understand and like have room to grow, right? And like give people room to grow and change and to develop new understanding, right? Like that's crazy. Like I think about it this way. The first day of your job, are you the
Mm,
best? Like, no. Like you're there, you got some chicken legs, you over here trying to figure out how you do things, like you're just like, this ain't exactly it. Like, like I thought I was gonna be amazing at this because in your
mm.
mind, you think, I know how to do this, right? It's another thing when you're actually doing it for the first time. Like me and you, we love coffee, right? We're baristas. So the first time you learned how to steam milk, I'm sure that didn't go well. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it took a couple times before you got comfortable, right, to do it. And then it takes a little bit more time for you to freestyle it on your own. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even need to remember the steps and this, that, and the third because I actually do know what I'm doing. Now I'm experimenting with shit. Now I'm creating new things and that's literally the same philosophy like we gotta have for all the other parts of our life, relationships
Absolutely.
included. Like you're not gonna be good at this first time out the gate. You know,
Mm,
it just is a whole new person. You learn the hard way, like, actually, oh, people live differently than me. Like, like, oh, that's normal to you? Okay.
yeah.
Like, like
Yeah.
you kind of have to like it takes a little bit of while to learn somebody. Like when you made your first friend, you had to learn them. You got to
Yes.
learn what their ticks are, what they like, whatever. It's the same thing. Relationships are all the same. You're just adding an additional label to it. Like, oh, this one's a
Right.
romantic one. Okay, this one's platonic. This one's a work
Mm,
one. This one's a this kind of relationship. Like anytime you're connecting with another human, right? That's a relationship, and that requires effort and work. And how much effort and work you're going to put on it is determined by the position that person is playing in your life. You
yes.
know.
Absolutely. How much you want to give? Who are they to you? And those are the things that I that's the thing, the initial question. That was what I found myself struggling with, was
Mhm.
just like setting those boundaries with people. Not everybody deserves my energy. Not everybody deserves to know every single aspect of my life.
Mhm.
Um, and it's okay. And it's okay. Like, but it's funny because you'll always encounter people that want to be more than what they are or what you
Ooh,
allow them to be.
ooh, talk
And
about it. We'll talk about it.
it's just, and because I feel like I've been on both sides of that.
Mhm.
And it hurts to be what might seem like a rejection or what might seem like a
Yep.
pushback, setback,
Mhm.
or just never moving forward. And understanding like I'm okay with that now. Like that was something I struggled with for a couple of years, but then I felt like I needed to take. I did this thing. I tell my friends, like when people would do that to me, there's just only a few. I'm not gonna try to make it seem like everybody was doing that to me, but like there was a few people that did that,
Mhm.
and I was like, okay, I started questioning myself, like why do they like me? Nobody likes me, and yada yada. I'm picking out
Mhm.
all the things that I don't like about myself, and then I'm like, wait a second, man, that's not what it is. I really do like myself. I need to date myself. I don't even know myself, and that's what I did. I started to date myself, take care of me. I like seriously on my birthday. I'll never forget. In April last year,
Mhm.
I get a phone call from Rem, and Rem was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, I'm dating myself." And she's like, "What are you doing on your birthday?" I'm like, "I'm on a date." And she was like, "On a date where?" And I was like, "I'm at the movie theaters." And she's like, "You're at the movies by yourself?" And I was like,
Hell yeah.
"Yeah, like I'm at the movie theaters." And I had the whole theater to myself, back row. Big, I had a large popcorn, large icy, and a box of chocolate covered raisins, and I was content. And that was something that I did for about 2 to 3 years. And when
Yeah.
I did that, like, it just finding ways to please myself, just to understand, what do I like? Who am I? Go to the bars, go to restaurants by myself. I sit and
Mhm.
drink and have a cocktail by myself, and that's something that I realized. Like, I like me. There's nothing wrong with me, and there's not saying that there's plenty of room to grow,
Yes.
so like that's fine. But for right now, I like who I am, and I like where I'm going, and I'm liking the things that I'm doing. I'm not going out of my way to hurt people. I don't got time for that. I don't
Mhm.
want to.
Mhm. That part.
So yeah, that's something that I tried to tell my friends when like people are down. I'm just like, just take some time, date yourself. Or people getting out of relationships, take time for yourself. Do the things that you want. Do the things that you want your partner to do for you. Do it for yourself. Period. Like
That's
that's something that
it.
I do. Period.
Let's just end
You
the
want that
whole
bag? Go get that
conversation.
bag.
Let's just end the whole conversation right here because I've been preaching this so many times, bro. You're waiting for somebody to do for you what you can do for yourself, right? Like when I think about partners now, I'm just like, what can you bring that I can't do for me? Right. And then I'm also thinking, like, what can I give? You know,
Mm,
that's
yes.
the other position that people leave out, right? It's like for me, it's like, what can I give? Because a lot of people want the relationship because they want the person to give to them. They want the lovey-dovey, they want all that, but they're not in a position to also, reciprocate. And that's been
Mm,
an interesting thing. Like, and that takes self-awareness. That takes actually dating yourself and knowing yourself. Do you want to date you? That's like that's a fundamental question we got to start asking ourselves. Would you want to date you? Like with like, are you the person that you would want to date right now? Right?
Mm.
This is why we're friends, by the way.
Yeah, I know. They're easy. Like this is us right here. Like this is we question ourselves and we question each other. And I
Yeah.
feel like having these conversations really helps me because like I feel like I always walk away and I'm just like I need to be more perspective.
Mm.
How can I be more self-aware?
Mm-hmm.
Is it more writing? Is it having more conversations with people and checking myself? I try to like, I feel like I try to check myself anytime, all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't want, I don't want to, I want my intent. I don't want to be understood. I think that's the thing. I think that not everybody has to understand me. I
Mm-hmm.
just don't want my intentions to be misread.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. I feel like I try to do everything that I do with good intention, the best that I can. I'm not perfect. That's okay. I'm fine with that. I'm learning that. But no, I would not have dated myself from the beginning of that journey, to be honest, because I didn't like myself. How you
Yeah.
gonna date someone you don't even like? So I didn't like myself 100%, and I had
Yeah.
to work that. And I realized I was like, oh wow, I like myself because I'm working on myself,
Mm-hmm.
and that feels good. And I saw there was a lot of progress. There's a lot of improvement. My social skills, being vulnerable and trusting myself, and I learned to trust others.
Girl,
And
you
just
be out there
realizing,
too. I remember the first time we finally linked up in DC. This was
oh yes,
a year ago, guys. And I would say somehow like me and Mahdi became popular faces. I don't know that people knew us, right? But just popular faces, right? And then you throw in melee, that doesn't help, right? So we're just kind of like all of us were having a different experience and reaction to like
mm,
being around people. You know what I mean?
yes,
Like it was so strange, right? And Melee's been on the show and she's talked about it too, right? And all of us, I was kind of just like people be scared to come talk to me sometimes because they don't want me to read
mm,
them, right? And you were like, yeah, not everybody's ready to be read. And I was like, that's true. Thank you, Mahdi. Because on the other side, every like 2 seconds, somebody's like trying to take a picture of Mahdi or with her, or like she's saying hi or introducing herself. Like very personable, right? And just kind of it's so interesting that like we've learned some of the same things, but the way we move is still different. Um,
mm,
and it's funny because when you were talking about dating yourself, I was like, yeah, I did that shit too. Like I do that. I still do that, right? Like I can't remember exactly the moment where it shifted for me, but it was like I think it was the end of undergrad or like right after. I just remember like I did start taking myself to the movies. And the best
mm.
best time to go is in the middle of the day. No one's
Oh
there.
yes, no
No
there.
one's there. I will go like matinee. And even if people are there, I could care less. It's just like I just wanted the quiet and the like alone time for real. Um, and there's times I'll just go by myself. I go get food. I do all the things that you're talking about, and it's like, you know, what are we waiting for? Are we waiting for other people to live our lives? Like that's really that was the fundamental click for me,
Yes,
where
yeah.
did you also notice it's like certain things you want to do, right? And you're trying to make the plan for it, but you get held up because you're like, well, who's gonna do this with me? Like,
Oh my God, yes.
and you're just sitting there like, no, nigga, I'm gonna do this with me. Like, well, I don't actually need another person to go do this. Like, I can just go
No,
do this because I want to go do this, right? And it's
and you'll
like,
be surprised how uncommon that is.
oh, what do you mean? No, nobody likes doing this. I remember, like, did people talk shit to you too? Like, we have great support systems, right? Let's talk about the other side of support, okay? We have great support systems. Let's not, we're not talking shit about y'all. What I have to put that disclaimer
So
because
funny.
people be like, what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about you, sweetheart. I'm talking about in general, right? Um, when you said you alluded to this earlier, you said something about this earlier too, right? Like when you were investing in yourself, when you were choosing yourself, when you're going up to the library and you're working on it, people don't always understand that, right? And like sometimes it's the people that we love is, in one season they're cheerleading us, they're pushing us up, they want us to get better, right? Like they want us to achieve our goals. But sometimes when those goals require us to be away from them for longer, right? Or
Mm.
we're doing things that they've never done or they're afraid of for themselves, like they will project that. You know what I mean? They will project that onto you. And it doesn't mean they're bad people. It just means you need a little bit more separation because they have
Mm.
something they need to work on too. You know,
Yes.
and we got hella shit. I know I got hella shit. They were just like, you kicking it by yourself? You didn't want to invite nobody? Like everybody was like offended, like they weren't invited or something. And it was like, did you really want to go do that? Like that's really
Mm.
my follow-up question was, did you really want to go do that? Did you actually have time? Oh, I have to
Mm.
wait two extra weeks to go do this thing because you don't have the time to go do it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm still working up the whole going on like out of the country vacations by myself. I travel all the time by myself, but like actually, going on trips by yourself, that's for me, that's my next level of like being in a different country. But it's still very much like it's not always going to be the fun part of the journey. And I think that we don't talk about that part enough. That
Mm.
sometimes you got to lose a couple things, people, places, all of that in order to be on your journey to actually like yourself again, right? Like to
Yeah.
love yourself again and to date yourself again. It's not all peaches. Rainbows is not. Like some people don't.
It's not.
They were
Yeah.
supportive and then they stopped being supportive.
And sometimes it's like, sometimes I feel like, I don't know. That's the part that I'm still like, I haven't put too much thought into,
Mhm.
because you're still on that journey. It's not like, and I don't want to even make it sound like the journey, like there's an end point to it, but there's always different layers to the journey
Yeah.
that you're on. And I feel like for myself, when I took some time and I took a step back, or uh, needed to do more self care,
Mhm.
you'll be amazed. I was shocked to see how many people just didn't reach out to me anymore, didn't want to have conversations with me anymore, or like the phone calls and text messages just kind of stopped. And it was like, it
Mhm.
wasn't that I like neglected you, it was that I focused on myself because I wasn't doing well. And
Mhm.
sometimes there was people in my life that didn't really understand what I was going through. They can empathize and they as much as they wanted to, but they still didn't understand to what degree it was.
Mhm.
Like Tigray put a really big toll on me and was really heavy on me, and still is, but I feel like I'm handling it a lot better. And to see people not no longer be part of that right now, and they're welcome to come back. Maybe depends. You can't talk
Yeah.
about it. You can't say too much now, but like it's okay. Like I just feel like things change. Like I'm changing too. So I think that through this journey, this working on ourselves, it's okay to lose a couple people. I feel like if you lose a couple people to gain more of yourself, I think that's okay. It was a quote. I'm trying to
Mhm.
think. Like there was a quote that I came across, and it was like just to know, like if the people that are in your life, to know whether or not they're going to be part of your life, forever, something like this. It's like work on yourself for 6 months and see who's still around. I think it was something like this, and I was like,
Mhm.
wow, like yeah,
It's a
yeah,
lot to.
it's a lot. It's a lot. It
No,
sucks
you
because like
said
you.
a line. I'm trying to like write it too because I feel
Oh,
like I've heard it that way, but I want people to like really let that sink in. Like I think you said if you have to lose a couple people to gain more of yourself,
yeah,
right? Then that's okay. Like
that's okay.
and it has to be because what's the alternative?
'Cause I feel like there's no alternative. I feel like and this is coming from somebody that put a lot of work for everybody else. Like even as a kid,
Mhm.
I invested a lot of my energy, like for my family, of course, my sisters, of course, and like external family. Like I don't regret it. And but like when I saw this, like when I saw that I was going out of my way for friends, and you know, sometimes you want people to do things for you. Yeah,
Yeah.
and like it's nice, like I
Mhm.
want somebody to do something nice for me, to think of me in a special way. And when I saw that that wasn't happening, I kind of got jealous. I got jealous, and I was like, "Who am I jealous of?" That was the question, Who am
Yeah.
I jealous? Am I jealous of myself that jealous of like everybody else getting it and not for myself? And it was like, I think it didn't hit me until like after college, I felt like, or during college maybe, that I was like, okay, like let me just do things that I like to do, focus on me. And yeah, some people started to trickle away, and that was okay. And being okay with that was also a whole journey in and of itself,
Yeah,
because
girl.
you have to be okay of letting people go, like they want to go. Also, having to choose, like I don't have time for you. And
Mhm.
I think even now, I think what like with social media, I think social media is I have a love-hate relationship with this is probably my fifth account, by the way. A lot of people don't know that, but like Mahdi Lima with two eyes is my like fifth account on Instagram.
Oh
And
gosh.
yeah, girl, because like I feel like there's a certain way that we portray ourselves, and of course we want to put the bright side of our lives, and people think that you got it all figured out, you got it all together. No, I'm like crying sometimes. Actually, I've never cried more than this past year ever in my life, but still, like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a
Girl,
whole lot there.
you see me in my scarf, the robe, the Dinka bonnet, maybe definitely snot nose, definitely crying,
All of it. We've
all
been
of
through
it,
this.
right? And I
Yeah.
think that, like, to your point, right? That was part of the biggest reason why I didn't want to be on social media and like build my business this way, because for me, I wanted to build my life in person, like I want brick and mortar. I want to touch this shit. I want it to be tangible, like I want all of that because like it's a much easier time for me to have a conversation with you one on one because I can feel your energy, I can sense those things. You can't tell that online, right? So like you got to have different barriers up, and it it can feel like a trap, and it's set up to be one, right? Like
Mm.
if you don't know how to use social media, it will use you. Like that's literally how it is created to work. And so no, I feel you. I've been on there. I turn my shit private, public, private, like delete, not delete. Like there's, take breaks, all of those things because it's so difficult. But it's kind of like what I think that I learned, right, from doing season one,
Mm.
um, and starting it was that like, oh, if you're gonna do this for real, you have to be authentic. You cannot pretend because like I was like, I cannot pretend like X, Y, and Z because I've been spending all this time healing, right?
Yeah.
And unlearning shit and taking off the mask. For what? So I could go back online and put it back on? No. Like it just doesn't make sense. And it's just not real. Like, like
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not what you look like. That's
Yeah.
the biggest thing, like when people ask me like now, like what's your favorite thing or what's people like say what's your biggest flex. I'm the same online as I am offline. Like that's
I love it. It's because it's
yeah,
true. It's true. We were friends on social media, and then we
yeah,
started talking, and then we saw each other in person. I'm like, oh, yeah, I still like you.
yeah. And that I can't say that for everybody. I really can't. Some of y'all some catfishes, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. I just some of them, come on, Mahdi, you know what I'm talking about. Like we have seen it, right? Like we've been in a couple groups together. We've been working on things, we're just like integrating into each other's lives, and we have seen, okay, the hot mess that like happens when people like let this shit get to them. They let like everything get to their head. They're over here trying to be too much all the time. I just
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe like for myself, like personally, I like to take people as they give me because I don't have time to assume. Like if
mm,
this is the person that you're showing me, great. Like I mean,
I don't want to
we all
dig.
it's I mean, I don't know. Like I don't know what to say. Like if this is what because people change. I know what it feels like. Sometimes you want to be certain type of way, and
Hmm.
especially when you're. I'm just thinking like when you're with a crowd of people that you're meeting for the first time. It's kind of like going back to what you said on the first day on the job.
Hmm.
What are you like? You might not know everything, but you dress to impress. You know what I mean? So
All of those things.
sometimes
Trying to play the
so maybe
part.
that's Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I'm trying to give. Maybe I'm playing
No,
devil's
there's
advocate.
definitely grace to give. There's definitely lots of grace to give, right? Because we also just finished talking about like it's intentionally set up this way, right?
Mm,
Some of us are on there for business reasons, and you can tell. You can tell people who are on there for work, okay? Because like
yeah,
everything is a production. Like
yeah,
if their pages look really nice, it's because they wanted it that way, right? Like so there's and they're doing that for reasons that make sense to them. You know,
yeah.
I'm more concerned with the reason why people are presenting themselves that way. You know,
Mm,
like is this a
mm,
low self-esteem thing? Like you like how we were talking about earlier, you don't really like yourself? Is that what it is? Or you don't really care about social media and you're just having fun on here and like you're an artistic person and you want, that's what you want to do because there's creators, right? Like we're regular as shit, but we just know how to edit some stuff. Like we know how to make things look cool or whatever. But it's like we just enjoy that process of like creating something, right? And there's so many reasons. My thing is always like, if this is a low self esteem thing, then get offline, you know,
mm,
because this is not where you're gonna get your healing. I
right.
promise you. Like there's
Yeah.
this there's an expression that's like, you will not be healed where you were hurt. Like
Mm,
and if social media is like a source of your trauma, you know what I mean? Then you got to remove yourself and like be able to unpack like what about it, you know what I mean? And what about yourself is getting triggered and what things are happening and then let's move out, right? Like and then we can come back cuz we have some tools and we know how to navigate it better. But
yeah.
I'm sure we've all been burned on the internet, a couple times. Like, like it's a thing. I just always worry when, when people come up to me or when you see people, like you're like, I think that's so and so, but that's not what they look like, right? And then you go back to the page and you're doing the thing and you're like,
Oh my
that's
god,
not
that's so funny.
that's not you, right? Like that's not you, right? And I've had people literally out of their mouth be like, I know I'm such a catfish online, you know? And I'm just like, do you want to
Oh,
unpack that? Do you want to talk about it? We don't have to, like, because you seem self-aware, like, but I notice what happens to them after the fact. You know what I'm saying, Mahdi? Like,
mhm.
because when you come back now into real life, right, and you're meeting people and you're doing that, don't you feel a little weird? Like, oh my God, they're gonna figure it out. Like, duh, nigga, we're
Yeah.
gonna figure it out. We have eyes. Like, like,
I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like maybe that's not like I guess I've never thought of it too much in that way because I feel like I just post for myself personally. I just post pictures. I try to take nice pictures while I'm doing whatever I'm doing.
mm-hmm,
Um, but yeah, I feel like that's a whole other level of like having to have more self love
mm-hmm,
for yourself because I mean yeah, a lot of people can find in social media for validation of who they are, and I think for myself, maybe it wasn't so much of like me posting, but all that scrolling and seeing like
mm-hmm,
people traveling with their friends, living their quote unquote best life. Um, Especially during a time when it could be so difficult. Like, what's wrong with me? Why are good things aren't happening to me? Why don't I have a partner? Why am I like? There's all these things you start questioning. That start questioning yourself. Um, yeah, I mean, I hope that those people that feel like, especially those that know that their social media is a catfish, I hope
yeah,
that they take the time to take some time to love themselves.
yeah,
Um, and you don't need validation because I mean, it'd be something different if all those likes put money in the bank. It'd be a
mm-hmm,
whole other game. That's what I mean. But for some people, it is. But like,
mm-hmm.
that's a lot. That takes a lot of time. It's a lot of effort.
A lot of
And
effort.
a lot of
Well,
effort. And some of those people, like I remember watching like YouTube videos of people, like when YouTube like blew up, when people
mhm,
started making a ton of money, those people now had to come back out and they had to make these like confessions to their followers, like I wasn't okay when I was doing this video. You
mhm.
guys didn't know. It's like how do we prevent people from having to go to their breaking point?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so I don't know. So yeah, social media for me, I think of it as just fun.
Mhm,
I'm learning to just enjoy it, but like that's not everything. I don't have to spend so much time. Like I do this thing where like I'll post a picture,
yeah,
I'll probably be on there for like a hot second, and then I step away because I don't need to count the number of likes. I don't need to count how many people
Yeah,
comment. Take a step back, go back to reality. Like have like enjoy the day. Talk to
literally.
a friend, call a friend. Like I don't know, like whatever it takes to build that self esteem or do something that you like.
Yeah. I
Just
check it like
medicate.
the inbox now, to be honest.
Yeah, check out like
I'll
your
be like, "Did I
emails.
send my
Really.
emails today? Like, did I put my oh, I did? Okay, cool." And then I like it's because of especially everything that's going on. What you were talking about, I think I've heard the phrase doom scrolling. Um,
Okay.
yeah, it's
I
like
didn't know
where
there
you're
was a
just
term for this.
they make up terms for everything. So it's like doom scrolling, and that's why I said get off because if you don't feel
Yeah.
good about yourself, you're gonna get a million little doses of reminders, right? That's just gonna constantly retrigger you. And I feel like from what we've shared today and like the things that we've learned, right? None of those really like are teaching you to love yourself, right? Like so I even hack my algorithm, right? Like if you understand how social media work, hey, this is Hannah's tip for the day. Take it or leave it, right? Like I
I'm
told
listening.
this yeah, I told my friend too. I said hack your algorithm. You so damn smart that you know how the algorithm works, right? You're like,
Mm,
oh, okay, they like faces. Oh, they like this. Oh, da. So if you know how the algorithm works, then stop feeding it shit you know only feed it what you want and that's all you're gonna get, right? So like right now on my timeline also, if I don't follow you, it's not because I don't like you as a person, I just don't like what you post, right? Like
that
no,
seems
to be
real.
real, to be all the way, I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all, you know what I mean? Let's keep it a buck around here, like I do shit transparently, and it's most of the time it's not personal, it's not, it got shit to do with you. You went on vacation, you feel me? I'm here. Like I'm here for that. I want you to rest. I want all of those things. There's just like my timelines are curated for me, right?
Mm,
Like they're curated for my needs and my wants and then whatever these advertisers are trying to fucking sell me, right? So
mm,
when you know that, only feed it what you want. Like so for me, my timeline is hella positive affirmations. Like all day long, right? Like if I scroll right now on any of my timelines because I have multiple accounts, right? It's all positive affirmations. And I know what I'm getting when I do that. If I click
mm.
on Reels or if I'm on TikTok or whatever, it's only the stuff I want to watch. So it's advice on business things, how to use social media, like tips and tricks, affirmations, meditation and breathing, like, beautiful travel, like tropical places, right? Like my timeline is peaceful, right? Like that's it. Like it's all the rest of y'all that try to make it toxic. Like I promise you, I don't like and it's not because I'm trying to ignore people's pain. You know me, I'll stop and cry with you if that's what I need to do, you know? Um it's just that I can't take that. I can't keep taking all those hits all day long. I can't take all the triggers all day long of, this person and that person or whatever, because I'm an empath. So when y'all are
Mm,
going through it, I'm going through it with you, right? And if I
yep,
don't know you, it's hella harder because like I actually want to help you. You know what I mean? I actually want to reach out and make sure you're good, but that can be overwhelming. So like I've had to hack my algorithm and make sure my timelines reflect the type of life I want to live, you know?
absolutely.
So y'all take that or leave it. I hope you hack yours too.
I hope
Um,
they take it
you
because
know,
it'll bring you a lot of peace. Yeah,
it'll,
at least when you're on social media.
it'll definitely give you a lot of peace. And that way it's like the people that I look, watch your stories and shit, it's because, oh, y'all are my friends now. You know what I mean? Like what you doing in your life? I'm just keeping up.
Mm,
But most of the time I'm on there 10, 15 minutes. Like unless I'm like if I'm on there longer, it's because I'm scrolling through like
mm,
hella shit. Like I'm just reading. I'm like, oh, that was a good story. Okay, like like that's my little news for the day, and then I hop right off, right? Like, because it's just your life is happening outside. You know what I mean?
girl. I mean, a year ago when we were having this conversation, I remember looking at my algorithm on Instagram because it tells you I had over 12 hours on social media. I can happily say that now I'm like at like an hour and 17 minutes.
I just love that. I'm over here like, let me check my screen time too, because it's just hard.
Yeah.
Like it is hard, but it's like any muscle that you're trying to build, it takes time.
Hmm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It really
Yeah.
does take time, but I love it. I go through a social media scrub, sis. You know how you do an exfoliating scrub in the shower? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yes, I know. Oh my goodness. I did that too. So many
Yes.
people came for me on social media.
Like, baby
Uh,
girl, do you know I can turn my phone off? That's what I really feel like people don't understand, because they take things way too personal, and they, like, they're just in it, right? And like,
yeah.
you know what humbles me all the time? Whenever
What?
people, because people are like, man, you just don't let this stuff get to your head, like, because they like to throw out this word celebrity. Like, I know you've heard this, no? They I know they say it about you too. They like to throw out this word celebrity, at least like within our own community. I'm not saying in the world, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
all of those things. You're popular, whatever, whatever. All these fantastic things. I'm like, you know what always keeps me humble is anytime I need to check myself, I remember that if my phone disappeared tomorrow, you know what I mean? If Instagram deleted, if YouTube and all these other things, wherever I'm streaming, right? If all that shit disappeared tomorrow, do I still fuck with
yeah.
me?
Mm,
That's really what I think about. It's really hard for me, like, especially when I was doing IG live. I'm
mm,
looking at my phone. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no what production? What you talking about?
mm.
All of you have a phone in your hand, which means all of you are capable of doing what I'm doing. You know?
Oh
And
my goodness,
so you
yeah.
ever need to be humbled, just remember, like, no, like, you're not the only one who can do this, who is
Yeah.
doing this, who will do this, you know? Everybody has somebody that is inspiring them, they're looking up to, whatever. And that's not meant to be competition either. It's meant to just like help you realize, like, yo, it's not that deep. Like,
Hmm. Yeah.
this not your whole life right here. Like, you gotta have something else to stand on besides this. Cause if all that goes away, then what you doing? You starting back at zero, you know?
It's interesting that you say that because um, I feel like it was when I went to like the DC, New York protest back in March, and
Mhm.
when I showed up, like a lot of people knew who I was, and I was like, oh, like you see my videos, like you're
Mhm.
Mahdi, and I was like, yeah, like I make videos and I try to educate people, and for me, like it was cool because like so many people knew who I was, and I was like, okay, so you see my videos, like for me when I was making those videos when I it's been a while since I made them, when I was making them, a lot of it was to obviously educate people that were already following me, like my friends. I started on social media. Like I only had like probably like 500 friends, and those were a lot of people I went to college with and high school with.
Mhm. Mhm.
I posted just for myself. Mind you, that was probably like my fifth Instagram account. Um, so, but I was really hoping that, like, especially with the Tigray community, I was like, I really hope this inspires people. I really hope it inspires people to do, their whatever they like. Because I'm also remembering, I said this a year
Mhm.
ago on this podcast because I told you,
Mhm.
and I was telling the audience, I was like, yo, like everybody has a superpower, and I still believe that everybody has a superpower. You're just gonna tap into it. I still feel like I'm tapping into mine, and I'm learning. I mean, I'm learning that I'm not the best public speaker,
Mhm.
and I want to grow on that. I want to be able to be a voice for our people back home and echo what they're saying and what they're feeling, but also educating myself in terms of what does it mean to be an activist.
Yeah.
What does it take? What is what have people? Who are the people that have like paved the path for us? Um,
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
me to do what I'm doing today. Like there's a lot of education that goes behind that. And I just really hope that people are doing so. But when I show up to these events, I'm like, wow, like this is cool because like we have a community of people, and like I hope that I'm not intimidating to anybody. Because I remember I used to see people like intimidated to walk up to me, and it's like,
Yeah.
hey, like I might not remember your IG name, but like how you doing? Like you look familiar. I hope that
Yeah.
we could just come and talk to each other because the last thing I am not a celebrity, not famous. I just hope that we can like all just collectively just know each other and get to know one another and we
Mhm.
tap into our superpower and make a change and make a positive impact, whether it's for TikTok, whether it's for your neighbor, whether it's for yourself and the rest of the world. Like I think just trying to do something good because there's obviously so much happening in this world, but also kind of going back, getting to know yourself, figure out what that power is. How is it helping you? How could you help other people? and people will recognize you for that power, and for your own power. So I think that's a beautiful thing, and it's like, yeah, social media was something that really helped me to tap into a lot of different people, even tap into my community that I didn't have ties with. I
Yeah.
mean, it was, but I'm happy to say that I do, and so many cool people that I've met, and they just feel comfortable. I feel like I've not only gained friends, but an entire community as family. So I'm very grateful.
Listen, no, that's beautiful because that's where we are, right? Like that's what we hope for. When you start doing this journey of really putting in work on yourself and taking care of you, the more you love yourself, the more you're able to give love to others and want them to also win. You know what I mean? I want you to succeed in whatever it is that you want to succeed in, and I want you to also feel powerful. Like, because a lot of people be like, yeah, you can get it done. I'm like, no, you can too.
You
Like,
can too.
you can too. But I promise you, like, I don't need more work. I got plenty. Okay, I got plenty.
Mm,
I listen to my spirit. Like, I listen to like, oh, we got to do that today. Okay, that's what we're doing. Um,
I'm listening.
so beautiful. So I want to be respectful of your time
We're
and
chilling.
the audience and everybody. Thank y'all for listening to us. We are at the last question. The last famous question that everyone loves is, with everything that you said, what is it that you're hoping your legacy will be? And in full transparency, we did not pull up what she said last time, if she said something last time. So it'll be really cool. I might edit it in after if I have the energy to be like, I wonder if it's the same or has it grown? Has it changed?
Wow. I don't remember what my legacy, what I said last time. It was a year ago.
Yeah.
But my legacy now, what do I want my legacy to be? Um, wow, that's a really difficult one. I probably, because I feel like I could think about this all day, but what's coming to my mind right now is I just really hope being able to help other people. I think it's because I don't know if I can really help people, but inspire people to tap in
Mhm.
to what I'm calling is a superpower, to be honest. That's the only thing I can think about because everybody's different. And I hope that um, for myself is art. I really liked art, whether it's writing, whether it's dance. I love to dance. Pretending like I can be a DJ because that's something I've always dreamed about doing, which I think I'm going to do one day, is become a
Yes.
DJ. I just, my legacy, I just wanted to be like, you know, being able to be one of the thousands of people in the diaspora that are helping people to grind.
Mhm.
And while doing that, I hope that I'm helping people heal, whether it's creating or enjoying things that are being created and inspiring people to create because I believe everybody's creative. I believe everybody has a superpower. I believe that everybody's capable of doing anything that they want to do.
Mhm.
So just remembering that, I think that for me, if nobody ever remembers me, say like after I've passed, I'm perfectly fine with that because what I'm doing now is for, not only for myself, but the people around me and hoping to make change. And I don't necessarily feel like I want to be, yeah, it's nice to be remembered, right? Like this whole, I think it's nice to be remembered, but
Mhm.
people don't remember me, that's fine. I just hope that like that chain reaction of doing good things will forever go and that people can keep that legacy going. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say.
No, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, thanks.
Because like I get to watch, like I said, I get a front row seat, and I'm very honored and blessed that you trust me in that position in your life.
Okay.
To to be there to like be a part of that to literally and figuratively like hold each other through this shit. Like, hey yo, this ain't
We're holding
it.
each other down. Yes, yes. We're holding each other down, sis. Like
Really,
we're doing great things.
really so
Yeah.
beautiful, and it's like it's really dope to see where you're at. And I know I said this before, and I'm gonna sing your praises until I can't anymore. Like you are doing that shit every day, Mahdi. Like every day that you get up and choose yourself and like fight another day, like you are inspiring people, you know, like every day. And it's really cool to just see, you know, that one that you even said, like, right, it doesn't matter if I'm not remembered as long as like people are still showing up for each other and like, you know, spreading love and kindness. And I think that just speaks to who you are, right? Like as a human being, like one, it's so beautiful. It's like making me emotional. It's just like you really are present, you know, and like I want to make my impact now. Like I want to touch people now. I want to move now. I want to show up because we don't know. Like you know, like after we really don't know. But what you do know is like right now in this moment, I can be kind to this person. Like right now in this moment, I can show up. Like I can try to build a community and a space and like give all that I can now. And I think that is a beautiful legacy, right? Like just live your whole fucking life, not just part of it, but like live all of it. And like you really can create, right? And you can do, that's the only thing that we're here for. You know what I mean? Like, what else is there? I've really been trying to figure that. I'm like, what are y'all looking for? There is nothing else. This is it right here. Like, showing up and being here for each other, loving on each other. There's nothing else. And like the fact that you can live that way and show up that way is beautiful. Um, and I know people are going to be inspired by this, so I hope that people took notes. Like, you know, I hope that they like recognize that like you are just as important and impactful and beautiful and can do all of the great things, right, that I can do. And I think that is beautiful. And if people can just walk away with that, then they can help themselves. Like, you know, like
Yeah.
that's really the goal. You can help yourself. I promise you. Go ahead. Like, just try
Okay,
it. See what
let's
happens.
try.
So,
Trial and error. Yeah, thank you.
of
This
course.
is this is so much fun. Oh my god, so easy talking to you. Always.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm trying to tell people, like, I promise you, that's not hard. Like, but no, for real, everybody, I hope y'all learn. This has been a beautiful episode. Black Women Wednesday. You know, we back. My girl Mahdi in the studio.
Oh, check one thing before we go. Check
Yes,
out Tigray Art Collective. Tigray Art Collective.
yes.
We're
Make
on Instagram. We are on Twitter, Art Tigray. And check out tigrayartcollective.org. And this is literally something that me and Gabrielle, who's also another founder, have come together to create. And we have NFTs with Mickey, Michael, uh, and essentially this is just an organization that we are creating for the people of Tigray, for the diaspora, for our allies, so we can bring together a collective group of artists to share the stories, to share the truth of what's happening in Tigray, to share our culture, our history, and to make sure that that lives on forever, because we obviously, the cultural cleansing is the thing along with ethnic cleansing. So check it out, Tigray Collective, and just make a shout out.
oh yeah.
Big
Oh
things
yeah.
are happening. We have exhibitions, everything. I'm really trying to hype people up because
Oh no,
whew,
don't
there's some
worry. I
juicy
interviewed
things
I
that
interviewed Gabby too. I got y'all covered, okay? I
go.
interviewed Gabby too. We went into it. So y'all, I'm telling you, it's about to be a hell of a year. Like I am already feeling it. We have a very different energy. I don't know if y'all could tell. We are not the same from last year. We have grown. We are better. We are doing bigger. We are
Hair's
creating,
different.
you know, and now we're even in the position to reach back and try to pull people up with us and like, yo, grab on, bro. That's all we want y'all to do. Grab on. We trying to throw you a life raft. We trying to throw you a floaty. Come on. Like we are here. We're doing the work and we're trying to be as transparent and as honest as we can so that y'all could do it too and join us where we're at. So y'all,
Yes,
I hope y'all loved it. Mahdi, forever grateful for you. This has
I'm
been
grateful for you.
so beautiful. I hope everybody really like, you know, we'll just pray that's what they get, right? That they get all the things. But yeah, y'all, that's Black Women Wednesday. You are watching the Uprooted Network. We'll see y'all next week. Peace out.
Thank you. Peace.